Well, hello traders. This is Art Dill, your emini success coach for Futures Trading Company.net, and a recap of our trading for April 26, 2012. And just had another fabulous day. We had one trade overnight on the Globex, 1-0-0 on the Globex, plus 37 points. And let me show you that. I've got so many trades we took today, I'm not going to be able to go over every one of them, but let me just highlight a few. Let me show you the trade I took last night on the Globex. This is I take these trades after midnight Pacific time, 3 a.m. On the East Coast, just after the open of the European market. And what you find typically is that market will tend to trend for quite a while in one direction. Here was the open. I'll highlight that. So here we are at midnight, the Pacific time, 3 a.m. So here's our first signal. It was a trigger long, and actually took that using a 5 point range bar chart, which got me into the trade at 13.058 long on this, and it was on this trigger, and I got 13.068, 13.073, and then I put in a 15-point trailing stop, and I went to bed, and wasn't much longer after that, actually. Not long after I got back to bed, we were stopped out at 13.070, right over here, just before the top of the hour there. Had you been up and remained up, you could have had a short trade here, actually at the break of 13.067 to the downside, and that would have been a really big winning trade to the downside. And then here later, you can see here, another move to the upside. And that's something you find overnight, is that typically once the market starts to move in one direction, it will continue in that direction for quite a while. The next trade I'm going to highlight was a news trade at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, and at 5:30 on the West Coast, and this was a reaction to the news down. I bought a Fibonacci retracement on the way back up. Bought one contract at 13.016 on the way back up, and the other contract at 13.018. Took the 016 purchase. I took that off at 006. The 018 purchase, I took that off at 13.011. So plus 10 and plus 7 points on the news trade at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. I'm just going to highlight the total for the day. Again, on the Globex, the one trade for 37 points. We went 9-1-1 on the YM, a total of plus 71 points. And I was 1-0 on the NASDAQ. That NASDAQ trade, let me just find that for you, was at 11:12 Pacific time. So that was 2:12 on the East Coast. We went long with two contracts on the NASDAQ at 27.1850. Took one off at 27.20.25, and then went off at 27.21.25, a total of 7 and 11 points. So a total of 18 points on the one NASDAQ trade I took. But the triggers work on either contract, the NASDAQ or the Dow. I only had one losing trade, and let me just show you that one. It was right here. And I took a trade long at 13.096. I added one at 13.085. Ended up taking that one off eventually at break even, and the initial 13.096 trade took that off at 13.075. So I lost 21 points on that trade, and that was the only losing trade I had today. And looking back at it, after I had taken this trade back here at 13.070 at 7 a.m., and that was actually a little bit of a pullback and a break of this pivot. And then we had that big run up. So I should have been a little bit more judicious and not taking a trade quite so quickly there on a little bit of a tick pullback. But that's what I was looking at the time. So as I say, that was the only losing trade we had today. Everything I took worked just about, except for that one. There was a long at 13.075. I got actually both contracts off there at the +7, so that was plus 14 points on that one. It was just really a day to be taking longs. Just about any long you wanted to take, as long as you were judicious in where you took it, was going to work for you. This 13.077 one I took here with the trigger entry, I ended up actually taking that one off at break even. The 13.086, I took that and it worked for +7 and a break even. This was a trade actually that happened during dead zone. That was a fabulous long trade had you been trading it at the time. A beautiful trigger entry and a big run to the upside. I did, after I came back, I did take a couple of entries here. One at 128, one at 133. And I got +10 and +7 points on that, on those two. And then, of course, the NASDAQ trade, which was at 11:12 Pacific time, and that was the last trade I actually took during the day. So I had a really great trading day, and I've had the best week since opening the room. We're up over $2,000 so far this week, and that's trading from 1 to 3 contracts. If you come in the room, you see I don't always trade the same number of contracts. It just depends upon how I am looking at risk at the time. So I trade between 1 and 3 contracts. I've never traded more than 3 in the room. And if you'd been in the room prior, you know that I'm obvious to you that I'm now starting to take more trades than I was when I first opened the room, and so I'm getting the hang of it, and it's starting to work real well for us. Anyway, if you'd like to come in the room, take a look at what we're doing, send me an email, info@eminisuccesscoach.com. Let me know you'd like to be in the room. I'll get you the webinar ID, and you can come in and take a look for a 2-week free trial. Anyway, have a great night, and we'll post the results tomorrow after we're done trading on Friday.